This is why you shouldn't buy a condo, whether it's a primary residence or an investment property. I'm gonna break down why it's a bad investment either way. But should you buy a townhouse or a single family in a development? Well, let's talk about that as well. Welcome to my channel. My name is Dylan Cross and I'm a software developer and a real estate investor. I live and own real estate in the Boston area, and I've never been a fan of condos. Before I bought my first multifamily property, I looked at buying a condo to live in. However, in the process, the deal fell through and I'm so grateful that it did. The condo was going to cost about $420,000. However, I ended up buying a multifamily property just down the street for about $560,000. This allowed me to house hack and rent out the other unit, and they paid for almost the entire mortgage. So I was living for much less than if I had bought a condo. And now the property is worth way more than the condo is. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly why condos are a bad investment 99% of the time. The first and number one reason why I think condos are a bad investment are the HOA fees, HOA. See, depending on many different factors, these fees can range from around $100 up to $400, $500, $600, $700 I've seen these fees at every single month. And these are fees that are on top of all of the other expenses, your mortgage, property insurance, property tax. You're still paying all of these other expenses. And the other problem with HOA fees are they rise faster than the property values rise. In fact, these fees can even increase when property values decrease. Between 2005 and 2015, the HOA fees increased on average in the country by 32%, while property values only increased by 15%. The average HOA fee in the country is $331 per month. And the other problem is if other people in the community don't pay their HOA fee, then your fees will rise to cover the difference. And to me, HOAs are just the biggest waste of money and the biggest money pit you could be putting your money in. I would rather save that money or invest it in a bigger property such as a multifamily or even just a single family property would be a better investment in my opinion. So for me, I will never pay an HOA fee in my life, whether to live or as an investment. And the second big reason I would never buy a condo is you have to abide by the community rules. And the rules can change from the time you buy the condo to several years through the future. So whatever the rules are when you buy, it doesn't mean they'll be the same forever. And if you're looking to use your condo as an investment, it may be ineligible to be a rental. Or if it's not today, they could change the rules in the future, making it ineligible to be an investment. And this is because condo communities have to have at least 50% owner occupied. Some may even want to have a higher percentage or may just entirely ban rentals. See, most people that own condos are owner occupied property, and they usually don't want to have a bunch of renters in their community. And these rules also play into getting financing for the property, which we're going to talk about later on in this video. Some of the other problems with the community rules are they can have pet restrictions, they can have breed restrictions, they can have restrictions on what kind of renovations you can do to your property. Many times you're limited in what you can actually do to make your property better. And if you want to make renovations to your property, you have to get approval from the HOA. And you're generally not going to be able to make big changes to your property. And to me, if you're paying a ton of money to live in a property, you should be able to do whatever you want to it. So that's another reason I'm never going to own a condo. And moving on to the third reason, financing issues. Financing for a condo is much harder to get than for a single family or almost any other kind of real estate. And as I mentioned before, conventional lenders will want the community to be at least 50% owner occupied. And if it's not, it can be virtually impossible to get financing for the condo. Lenders also look at how the property is run, the HOA. If there have been any major issues with the HOA in the past, such as financial issues or any other kind of issue managing the property, lenders may not provide financing for that property based on that alone. And if you have a combination of these issues, that's when you can see condos for very cheap compared to the other ones in the area. So if you were going to buy a condo, you'd want to make sure up front the condo was eligible to be financed through a conventional lender. And if you're not using a conventional loan, then it can be even tougher to get financing. You're typically also going to pay a higher interest rate compared to a single family home. And moving on to the fourth problem with buying a condo. On average, condos appreciate much slower than single family homes. And this is because generally condos are less appealing to a broader range of people. So you have less competition when you're selling. So it makes it much tougher for the value of the condo to increase year over year. And when you buy a condo, you don't have any land, and that's also a major factor in appreciation. And moving on to the next problem, lack of privacy. If you've ever had any issues when you've lived in an apartment, then you may have these same issues when you buy a condo. Because a condo is just basically an apartment that you own. own. So you still have all the privacy issues with people beside you, above you, below you, all of that. You never know who's going to live above you. Maybe your upstairs neighbors are cloggers. It's hard to tell and you have no control over that. You can still have those kinds of issues. So if privacy is a big issue to you, that's another reason why you shouldn't buy a condo. And moving on to the last major reason why you shouldn't buy a condo. It can be difficult to sell. There are a lot of factors that play into this. However, in general, they can be harder to sell. However, in some areas, they may be quicker to sell than others, such as if you live in a big city that doesn't have a lot of housing, they may go faster on average. However, as a general rule through the country, they're harder to sell. And this is because many people don't want a condo, especially families. Families are more inclined to go to a single family property versus a condo. Usually people that buy condos are young people, working professionals that are just starting out in their career. But as they transition in their life stage to having a family, they're more likely to want to move out of a condo into a single family. Another reason is, as I mentioned before, financing can be much tougher to get and you can pay more in interest for. However, if you take a condo and a single family in the same neighborhood, generally the price is going to be very similar and you can even actually pay less for a single family. And I'm going to show you a comparison of that right now. And then buyers are going to look at the HOA and see how it's managed. If the HOA doesn't do a good job of managing the property, that's going to turn buyers off to that condo. And these are things you can't really change, so you're kind of at the mercy of the HOA. And that's another reason why lenders take a strong look at the HOA and see how the property is managed, because it can cause major issues in the future if they're not handled well. And if the condo is in a large community, there can be multiple condos which are very similar to each other that are competing to sell. So it could take much longer for them to come around to the condo that you might own. So there are a lot of factors that go into the value of a condo, how much you're paying for a condo, and whether or not it's really a good investment. And so these are the major reasons that I would never suggest buying a condo. And these are the major reasons that I would never buy a condo. So I told you I would talk about buying a townhouse or a single family home. So should you buy a townhouse? Now this video isn't meant to be a deep dive on townhouses versus condos. However, townhouses have less of the problems of condos and they're generally able to be financed much more similar to a single family home. So a townhouse would have less problems with buying. However, in my opinion, because it has an HOA fee and you still don't own the property itself, I would never recommend buying a townhouse either. And for me, if it has an HOA fee, I'm not even gonna look at it. So this goes into, should you buy a single family home in a community development that has an HOA fee? My answer to that is also a big no. Now, a single family in a community that has an HOA can also have a lot of issues. For example, you can't paint the house whatever color you want. You have to get approval to make different changes to your home. You have to cut your lawn a certain length. There are a lot of things that HOAs can control even on a single family in a community. So in my opinion, whether you're going to live in the property or use it as an investment, the only properties I would consider buying would be single family homes or multifamily homes. And if you're just getting started in real estate, you can house hack a multifamily home very easily, which I talk about in my video up here. And so those are my thoughts on whether or not you should buy a condo, a townhouse, or a single family in a community. However, I still suggest you do your own research and find out what works best for you. These are just my opinions and my preferences. However, as a whole, I think these are generally good practices if you're trying to make money in real estate. And that could just be whether you're just looking to buy your own home or you're looking to invest in real estate. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope this has helped you make a decision on whether or not to buy a condo, townhouse, or a single family in a development. And if it was helpful, definitely comment down below, like this video, and subscribe to my channel for more content. I make videos about real estate investing, general finance, tips and tricks, and anything else related to helping you become wealthy. So thank you for watching this video and see you next time.